So today I want to talk about negotiating the BINSR. This is a section in the whole process where things can get heated over really odd things. So first of all, you want to make sure that your buyer has done all of their due diligence, not just have a home inspector come in, but they've utilized the buyer's advisory. They have a good feel of what to expect in the neighborhood. Is it going to be a reflection of a type of neighborhood that they want to be in? Doing any past history of the house, and if it's something special like an air conditioner, they work real hard here, so it makes sense to have them do an inspection of the air conditioner. And the roof, have a specific roof inspector come out. And one of the things that you can recommend too is based on the age of the house. If it's got a brand new roof, you probably don't need a roofer to go up there and say, guess what, it's got a brand new roof. But if it's an older house and they don't know when the roof was replaced or the water heater, or, you might want to have a professional come in and say, this is how much it's going to cost. It gives you negotiating power with the other side. So speaking of the other side, the sellers, they're going to receive this list, and the more confusing and nuanced it is, the less likely they are to work with you. So we always want to make sure that we're working together through this part of the process, especially. I mean, always, but this part of this process especially, because if we're not speaking the same language and we don't all have the same goal, the seller, ultimately, they think their house is a castle. Everybody does. It's been their temple. They're like, this is my house. It's amazing. So when you give them a list of stuff that's wrong with the house and you go crazy asking for every single little thing on the report, they can take offense to that. And sometimes they take so much offense to that that they're not even willing to negotiate. It's crazy, but like I said, this is the part that goes totally bananas and sideways sometimes. So what I recommend is making sure that, with the seller, before you even put that house on the market, you need to make sure you have that conversation with them. This is the kind of stuff that comes up. Will you be willing to make repairs to the house when we go through the BINSR process and they identify that it needs this, it needs that? Will you be willing to take care of those repairs, or would you be willing to work with the buyer to come to some financial agreement where, funds are exchanged, blah, blah, blah. And if your seller says, no, I'm not touching anything, then you might want to factor that into price, because the buyer is purchasing a house based on their visual inspection, not knowing, because they're not a professional in A, B, or C, that there might be other things wrong with the house. So the buyer comes in, they do their due diligence, they maybe work with a home inspector that makes every single thing on the list seem like it's going to have the house blow up. So they want to ask for everything. That's where that buyer consultation out of the gate, when you hand them the buyer's advisory and you say, do some homework. Driving around the car, FYI, we're seeing homes that are built in, this, like Sun City, for example. The houses are built in the 60s and 70s. They have aluminum wiring. That's what happens in those homes. The seller's not required to bring that up to today's code. It works fine. If it's going to burst into flames, that's a problem. But if it works fine, it's working as intended per the code of that time, your buyers need to understand that that doesn't mean there's something wrong with the house. You don't want something like that to kill a deal. So make sure you're educating them. It's so important. Because then when you take the inspection report and you can say, okay, these 3 things, these 5 things, these 6 things are like 911s. We've got a toilet that's leaking onto the floor. We've got, the HVAC system doesn't blow the air cold enough. You've got exposed wires off the back of the house. These are things that are affecting health and safety, and is it functioning as intended? So that's where, if we've got things that are going to bring it up to code, or there's a cracked, like the little light switch plate, like some of the crazy things that people ask for. They want the whole room painted because it has one smudge on the wall, like crazy stuff like that we see, and it's just like, come on. But you need to make sure that you're guiding your client so that when you're asking these things, you're going to get the things. If you're reasonable, you'll get more. It's not about like, let me give you this laundry list. If they want to do that, that's their prerogative. Let them go nuts. But ultimately, you want to work together. And when you're working with your sellers and they get that list, make sure that you hop on it right away and help them get any of the bids that they need. Make sure that you are helping them understand if it would be better to just do cash, or if they should just take care of it? Is it something that could create liability for them down the road if they don't? So that they're sticking within their budget and netting what they need to net still, but also working together. Ultimately, somebody doesn't want to sell a house that's not safe, right? So, they don't want a family to come in with little kids and, have the house blow up. Like, that's horrifying. So if you can explain it in a way where we're making sure that the house is going to be fit in reasonable condition and working as intended per health and safety as well, they're more likely to work with you, and you guys can come to some type of agreement to keep things moving along. So I apologize, this is a little bit longer of a video, but it's kind of an important topic, and I wanted to cover it a little bit more in depth, hopefully to give you some perspective on each side, because it is important to understand what the other side is thinking and to be able to explain that to your clients as well. So subscribe. If you have any questions, reach out. I'm happy to help.